You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat basement, average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot.
What difference at this point does it make? Mr. and Mrs. America turn all in.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot. It is the 100th episode. I wish it was going to be a little more cheery. I wish it was going to be a little more delightful, but it's just simply not. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot of things to talk about. Where do we go from here? I'll be right back. I get asked all the time. In fact, the last 48 hours, I don't consider myself any kind of expert. I'm not a political analyst. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just not. I have tried to conquer some things. I've tried to educate myself on a lot. The more I try to educate myself, the more I realize I know nothing. I really, truly don't. I do know a few things in life. I know that if you think you are the know-all, end-all to everything, you're probably dumb as a box of rocks. Even Albert Einstein himself would sit there and ponder things. You know, and this guy is a man who was brilliant beyond any human comprehension. And somebody asked him what is the most amazing thing he's ever seen that he struggles with. And he said compounding interest. He just doesn't get it. And so I go with that. It keeps me humble. I really don't know. I will tell you what I suspect. I suspect, based on everything that I have been seeing in this election, we have and are witnessing one of the biggest election frauds that this nation has ever experienced. And then people, oh, you're just a sore loser. No, I'm not a sore loser. Nancy Pelosi told you a couple of months ago, Donald Trump will not win this election. And she meant it. I believe that the mail-in ballots were the vessel used to steal this election, to go against the will of the people. I believe, I've told you a couple of times on different shows, that I believed from day one that a lot of these mail-in ballots, there was an abandoned factory or an office somewhere where people were sitting day after day, week after week up until the election, going through precincts and filling out ballots of dead people, people who hadn't voted in a while and they don't think they're going to vote, and et cetera, et cetera. And I believe they use this new mail-in ballots to upset the apple cart, to cheat on this election. Now, us little peons, are never going to find out the truth. And if we do find out the truth, nobody will ever get in trouble. I personally think that an elected official, if they are caught orchestrating, organizing election fraud, they should be publicly executed. That's just how I feel. It's that important. And I get the feeling that now, and this is why I feel that way. Okay. Every state in the union already had a vessel for absentee ballots. But all of a sudden it became very, 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 very important to bulk mail ballots. Even on top of the other ballots. You know, in this precinct, yes, you had to ask for them. I think in this state you might have had to ask for them, but they just pounded and pounded and pounded. You have to have a ballot. Mail your ballot in. You have to. And I think they used this pandemic as encouragement to get this mail-in ballot thing passed. I think the Trump administration saw the potential for the massive fraud, and that's why they're not going down easy. And I think they know that he saw it, and I think that's why they started gearing you up for, well, he's not going to accept the results of this election. Well, no, because he can see it. I can see it. Tons of people are looking at it going, these people are cheating. Well, let's look at it logically. And I look at things by my own theory of possible versus probable. You know, if you've listened to, I do this for free, I talk about aliens sometimes. My whole thing about it, is it possible aliens exist? Yeah, anything's possible. Is it probable that they have spent light years cruising around this galaxy only to come down on this ghetto rock and scare people? I don't think it's probable. Now, I'm going to look at this election the same way. We looked at the battleground states, and I pointed this out the next day, the day after, November 4th, I pointed this out. I find it curious that, say, for instance, the state of Michigan needed 300,000 Biden votes to swing Michigan. And just out of total shock and surprise, they found 300 Biden votes. No more Trump votes. Absolutely no more Trump votes. Pennsylvania is now saying, oh, look, we found enough Biden votes. They were 700,000 votes for a Trump victory. And all of a sudden they said, oh, look, we keep counting and counting and counting. We don't see any more Trump votes, but look at all these Biden votes. See, 700,000. Oh, he won. Biden won. We're packing up and going home. Now, is it possible? Well, yeah, anything's possible. I've seen some pretty crazy things in my life. You stick around this ghetto rock for 55 years and you see some pretty incredible things. Is it probable that it's accurate? No. Highly, highly doubtful. Same thing going on in Georgia. Same thing with Wisconsin. When you have 90% voter turnout, I call crap on that. Wisconsin did not have 90% voter turnout. Highly, highly improbable. Michigan did not all of a sudden pull 300,000 Biden ballots out of their butts. That was pre-planned. That's the probability. But you know what? We're not the left. We're not the left. I didn't see anybody on the right sitting in the middle of a street. And I doubt, I mean, yes, there's going to be outrage. There's going to be people saying things. But I'm not seeing cities burn. I'm not seeing people with guns going into places and shooting up the place because, you know, Trump lost. Not saying it's not going to happen. There's some pretty, let's say, excitable Trump voters out there. I personally implore you and beg you to remember who you are. You're not the unhinged left. You are conservatives. We don't riot, throw things through windows, steal TVs and shoes because, you know, that's going to give us justice. No, what we do is we pressure our elected officials into investigating this. Make phone calls, blow them up. Blow their phones up 24/7. You need to investigate this. This smells fishy. We don't believe this turnout. If you're in Wisconsin, how do you have 127% voter turnout? You don't. You don't. And some counties reported that. Now, the media, of course, is jumping on these, well, that's not what it really is. Yeah, it's what it really is. It's called voter fraud. And we're looking at a really, really big, massive scale of voter fraud. And it all hinges on the pandemic and the mail-in ballots because, you know, they took advantage of this pandemic. And I think this is about ready to bite them in the butt. We'll talk about that in a minute. And they use that to come out, roll out this, you know, and trust me, the pandemic is real. It's real. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I promise. But true to form, the Democrats saw this as an opportunity to use the mail-in ballot thing. Say, oh, we got to have this. Everybody's got to mail their ballots in. They can't stand in line. They can't stand in line in an election. Oh, my gosh. Everybody's going to die. Everybody's going to get the coronavirus. And the meanwhile, and I said this from day one, these mail-in ballots are going to be the vessel they use to win this election. They will use them to cheat. I said this the second they did it. That combined with, and let's face it, folks, let's face it. The left is really good at a few things. They're really good at organizing, protesting, rioting, chucking bricks through windows. They're really good at organizing their brainless minions. Let's put it that way. They're really good with using technology, apps, data to get their minions out and marching and making public spectacles of themselves. And even though we take it for granted, like all summer long, we've seen the riots in Chicago, Portland, Seattle, Detroit. And we look at them and go, well, these are all Democrat-run cities. They've been Democrat-run for decades. We know where the systematic racism comes from. It comes from trapping people in to the system and making it very, very, very difficult for them to get out and keeping them alive. And then telling them if you leave this system, the Republicans are going to kill you. They're going to make sure you die. Let's face it. Look at the history. That's where it is. We take that for granted. The average moron, and even if they have a college degree, these days, they take that college degree and they might get a good job with it. And then they come home and then they sit and they watch TV until their brains bleed out of their head. Or they sit and they watch the computer screen till their brains bleed out of their head. Media, 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. Repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And actually, eventually, it becomes what everybody perceives as the truth. The Democrats are really good at this. And they control the media. That's why they hated Fox News for so long. Fox News is not the Fox News it started out to be. Fox News is basically now Democrat light. Yeah, every once in a while they'll have a show on that kind of negates a lot of things you hear, but 99% of the time, they're just crap. That's why when someone, oh, you watch Fox News. No, I don't. No, I actually don't watch TV. I think TV is one of the worst things in your, and now, actually lately, over the past couple of weeks, and I've known this, but I'm getting ready to just unplug and walk away from social media for a while too, to see if that eases my brain. I got a lot going on in my life. But they are really good at using technology to brainwash their supposedly educated minions. These people aren't educated. Every time I hear the left, oh, we're the party of education. No, you're not. You're not. You're the party of indoctrination. You have no individual thought. You frown upon furthering your brain, questioning what's going on around you. Individual exploration. Well, logic dictates that the planet really isn't being destroyed, that climate changes all the time. Heretic! You're just a flyover state idiot! No, I'm looking at data. No! The science is settled! That's not educated. That's indoctrinated. And when these people try to tell you that they are the educated elites, they're not. They're very, very stupid people, and they've all been indoctrinated. They're like lemmings. They follow each other, no matter how absurd, how stupid, and we've seen some of the craziest things in the world come out of them. 52 genders? There's not 52 genders. There's two. There's men, there's women. Every once in a while, you get a hermaphrodite, or you get a neuter. It's the rare exception. Now, their sexual preferences, there's probably 100 sexual preferences. Oh, you can't say that. You can't. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And I will. I've changed my whole thinking. I will say it. Because I think individually. I study. I educated myself. I've got a long way to go. Trust me. A long way to go. But this week, I have just recommitted myself to intellectual fortification. I need to study deeper. I need to get further inside my own brain. I need to look around and explore things. But I digress. These are not the intellectuals. These are morons. A lot of them have pieces of paper that say, oh, look, I went to college. And when you look at their education, you look at their degree is as worthless as they are. And they're lemmings. They unquestionably follow their leadership right off a cliff. If their leadership went to the Grand Canyon and just started walking into the big hole, they would follow them unquestionably. And that's why I think a lot of the time the GOP loses, is because you do have people on the right that look around and going, I know I vote GOP, but this is wrong. This is not right. I don't trust this person. I don't like this idea. This is not how we should be acting. And there's a lot of things going on that there's individual thought. Now, that being said, the Democrats, a lot of them right now, they're going through their own struggle. They have the radical left. Yes, I'm going to call them the radical left. The extremists on the left are fighting with the establishment Democrats. And the establishment Democrats are the ones who actually did invent systematic racism. They do keep people in velvet chains of free stuff. They are the bigots, the racists. Oh, and guess what? It looks like we just voted in one of the biggest racist, sexist, misogynist, wealthy establishment, 47 years of being in the swamp in D.C. Everything the Democrats hate, you guys just voted him in for president. Congratulations. He's not going to be there that long. Kamala Harris is going to basically take that seat, and then we're really going to get a radical push to the left. But anyways, they're good at using the technology to get their minions to march. They're brainless hordes to march. These people are dumb. They don't have individual thought. They do what their masters tell them to do. And if their masters tell them to riot, burn, destroy, screech, strip naked, and scream, do things that just seem totally unhinged, then they do it. Unquestionable. And I often wonder, how do they justify that stuff? That doesn't look normal. That doesn't look sane. And how do the masses look at that and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to vote for that. Yeah. It's disgusting. These people are disgusting. And their entire, the entire leftist ideology, especially the new left, the new Democrat Party, hinges 100% on lawlessness and immorality. And my blood curdles every time I see some of the things they come up with. And it makes me want to just go farther into being for the law and for morality. That's the feelings I'm getting right now. Now, this show will break at 10 o'clock on Friday night. I'm going to go ahead and assume that the media is going to stand up and declare that Joe Biden, well, actually Kamala Harris, has won the presidency. That's what I'm going to go ahead and assume. If I did this show an hour before it released, which I have to pre-record it, I'm sorry. My live show is on Sunday night at Circumspice, the right side of Michigan. It's a lot easier to do because I can do things as things break. It's all real time. This show is hard to do. I can get up in the morning, record it, and by 10 o'clock when it breaks, the entire political landscape has changed. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that this plot by the Democrats to hijack this election has been successful. And when we come back from the break, we're going to answer the question, what now? Where do we go from here? Now, before I go to break, I just want to throw this out there. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is the 100th episode of the Hardcore Patriot. Yes, I took about a year break. I regret that. Shame on me. My numbers go up and down. I don't know why. It's just one of them weird things. I do want to tell you that if you've been listening to this show, if you have found this show and you've been listening to it, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I am blessed to be able to do what I'm doing. We live in such a great time. I know things look bleak. I know things look a little hopeless if you're on the right now. We'll live through this. I promise you, we will live through this. We lived through 8 years of Barack Hussein Obama. We're going to live through 4 years of Kamala Harris. I really do believe, and I might be totally off base, but I suspect that 90 days into the Biden presidency, Nancy Pelosi is going to declare him mentally unfit. And of course, the Senate's going to look at him and go, yeah, we've been saying this all along, so they're going to go along with it. And then they're going to install Kamala Harris as the president of the United States. I think this has been their plan since they pushed Joe Biden in the front. It's just another one of them PSYOP things. I'm still asking back in the primaries how Joe Biden went from getting no support at all and overnight, became the front runner in the Democrat Party. How did that happen? Well, the same way that President Trump was blowing this election completely out of the water, and by the next morning, he's losing. Same way. Manipulation. This is what these people do, and they're very, very good at it. It's going to be a rough 4 years, no matter what. And when we come back from the break, I'll explain why and what we're going to have to do to prepare for the next 4 years. And it starts today. It starts right now. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Welcome back. "100 episodes, huh?" I started this thing out on Rick Robinson's show, America Off the Rails. I did this little thing called Points of Tyranny. It was a warning, a shot across the bow saying, look, it's not the elected officials most of the time we have to worry about. It's who the elected officials appoint. It's the appointed officials. In the last 4 years, that little 5-minute blurb has come to light like I've never thought it would ever do. Blatantly, openly, honestly, the appointed officials in Washington, D.C., the people left from the Obama administration, and quite honestly, let me just chase a rabbit here for a minute. The next Republican president that we have needs to walk in there, and anyone left over from the previous administration, if it's a Democrat, fire them on the spot. Just say, were you appointed? Yeah, okay, you're fired. Get out. Just level them. Trump should have done that from day one. We have watched blatant tyranny from the heads of the FBI, the heads of the Department of Justice, the heads of the EPA until they were switched over. Blatant, open, defiant. And I don't think this whole event that we're witnessing right now is going to be any different. There's too many minions, too many activists planted throughout this nation by the Democrats, the Obama administration, their minions, and they just go farther and farther and farther left every time they get in power. These are not your grandpa's Democrats. Those were bad enough. These are blatant communist socialists. I can't stress that enough. Biden is a puppet. He's a meat stick. That man, let's face it, that dementia-riddled old man probably doesn't have a rational, complex thought in his head. He is a puppet, and he will be pushed farther and farther left. And it's not going to be easy for you. I guarantee you, if you are a conservative, not a Republican, a conservative, if you believe that America is an exceptional country, that we need to defend our shores and stay out of needless wars, stop impaling our youth on the spear of needless wars getting involved in crap over in that cesspool that's the Mideast, which, sorry, that's where we're heading. Yeah, I may be wrong. I don't think I am. So mark my words. Biden is going to shut down the energy independence that Trump has established. Gas prices will go up. We will be reliant on oil from places like Venezuela. We will be dependent on oil like places from the Middle East. The Middle East will never, ever be at peace. We just ruined our shot at any kind of peace in the Middle East. Those agreements that have been going on for the past few months that should have been just all over the news, that the news kicked underneath the couch with the rest of the dust bunnies and tried to cover up. Those agreements in the Middle East, those peace treaties, are going to go away. And we are going to go back to that needless war about oil, gas, assets in the Middle East. And I have said this for years, decades. If anybody had half a brain, they would pull all of our assets out of the Middle East and let them go back to living in tents. Donald Trump was the closest we've ever come to doing that. And these people just fraud voted him right out. Congratulations. If you have a kid who's 17 years old, you might want to think about just relocating them to Canada or something for a while. At least talk them out of, well, no, don't talk them out of going to the military. We need military. We definitely need to defend these shores. But the odds of them going overseas now has just increased. And I find that funny. I find that interesting because you look at this, what do they call it? Doomsday clock. They had Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump's going to blow up the world. And I laughed. I laughed mockingly. They did the same thing with Ronald Reagan. What happened? Ronald Reagan ended the Cold War. Barack Obama brought it back. These are morons. They want to tell you they're the smartest people in the room, but they're morons. They're idiots. So, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? What do we do? I'm going to go ahead and take it at face value that it's going to take a miracle for Donald Trump to remain president for the next 4 years. Unless all of a sudden massive voter fraud is uncovered, which I doubt it will be. The Democrats are very, very good at keeping their deceitfulness covered up. Joe Biden will be your president. Where do we go from here? I recommend that you store up valuable assets. If you can scrounge up bullets, get bullets. They're going to be worth more than gold in a few years. If you can scrounge up gold, silver, platinum, don't just invest in scam companies that say they're holding it for you. Physically grab it, stash it away. Get a safe, stash it away. I get the feeling, I may be totally off base, I may be totally wrong, that you're going to see a push to end hard currency. Or at least reduce it drastically. Why? Because anytime there's any kind of money around, any kind of profits, proceeds around, the Democrats want their giant share of it, the bulk of it. That's why they want to go after Wall Street. They want to go after Wall Street because that's money that they don't have and that they can't use to gain more power. They've painted billionaires over the past few years. They've painted billionaires as these people who have giant vaults on their property that just have tons and tons and tons of money stacked up in it and they're hoarding it. Just the opposite is true. If you see a billionaire, his liquid assets, and by liquid assets, I mean the actual capital he has on hand, the money he has in his pocket or in his safe, maybe just a couple of % of his total value. Most of it is reinvested back into the economy. into starting businesses. Yes, they expect return on investment. They expect it. They have the right to expect it. And sometimes they lose, but the really smart ones win a lot. That's why they're billionaires. And you have these far left extremists who want to close that all down. Too stupid to realize that these billionaires they're rich enough to just pull up stake and go somewhere else with their capital, cash all their cash in, and just leave. Go invest in some foreign country who welcome them, welcome that kind of shot in their investments. That's how stupid these people are. Not to mention the fact that a giant percent of what's going on in Wall Street right now is our retirement savings, our investments. 350 million people, or at least a large percentage of those people, who have 401ks, 401bs, 401cs that go into Wall Street. They want your money. They drool every time they see that much money. They drool. They want a giant portion of it so they can promote even more socialism. And it will crash. The difference between a billionaire investing in the economy and a Democrat investing in the economy is you can see where the billionaire has put his money, and you can see the economy grow because he's investing in it, because he believes in it. The Democrats, they will take that money and tell you, we're going to start this program, and it's going to help all the people. But you never seem to get any better. You never seem to improve. And that's why I'm telling you, invest in hard things. It won't surprise me if they go after currency and try to shut it down. There's too many people out there who make a couple of $100 on the side, doing favors for people, working on a farm, doing things on the side, selling things on the side. And they want that money all the way down to the penny. Invest accordingly. That's one of the things you're going to do. Number 2, bolster down, hunker down on your religion, on your education, on who you are. Know in your heart, in your soul, why you are a conservative, why you are a libertarian, why you are a conservatarian or liberservative, whichever one you want to know. Know in your heart why you made that decision, and don't let them shame you. You're who you are for a reason. I became a conservative thanks to Jimmy Carter. I looked at his feckless leadership, where he took us, how bad it was. He made a mockery and an embarrassment out of this nation. Let Iran bully us around. Iran, the reason you have problems in Iran is Jimmy Carter, because he was a very stupid person. And he surrounded himself with very stupid people. Know who you are. Study who you are. Don't apologize for who you are. And when you're dragged into some corporate meeting that says, okay, today we're going to teach you why you're a horrible person because of your skin color, flat out reject them. Say, no, I'm not. What my great-great-great-grandfather did has nothing to do with me. Oh, and by the way, my great-great-grandfather actually fought in the Civil War for the North. He freed slaves. I don't apologize for who I am. I don't expect anybody to apologize for how they were born. I don't expect a black person, a brown person, a yellow person to apologize for being born who they are with their skin color. I'm not going to. Don't accept their systematic racism theory. In fact, once they start that stuff, say, well, it was the Democrat Party that actually invented systematic racism, and then systematically tear them down. These are the people who control the cities, who have the slums in them, who continue to keep these people crushed and belittled and pushed down, telling them there's a boogeyman out there, that if they leave the comfort of their free stuff of the Democrat Party, that they will be decimated, that these hateful bigots on the right will hang them and drag them behind pickup trucks, when it's completely not true. The real systematic racism in this nation was brought on by the Democrats, still controlled by the Democrats, and it's called the welfare state. When you go into these places and build these opportunity zones and these neighborhoods start flourishing, we can't have that. If these people learn that they can be successful without the government, you don't need a Democrat. So don't apologize for who you are. And when they start that crap, give it right back to them. Right back to them. Study it. Tell them, you are the people who have been keeping these people strung up. Don't apologize, ever. Don't apologize to the rage mob. Don't apologize to the shame mob. Hold your head up and be who you are. Number 3, I do not want to see anybody acting like we have seen the left act for the last 4 years. Chucking bricks through windows, burning, looting, doing stupid things, screeching in the streets. We're bigger than that. We're more intellectual than that. We'll get through the next 4 years of this moron. Start planning now. Now. Not the year of the next election cycle. Start planning right now how you're going to start influencing the people around you. Influencing the people around you to turn conservative, to turn red. Be more involved in the people they choose to run in your area, in your district. Be more involved in the people they choose to have you vote for president or whatever. Let's face it, the reason we have the feckless governor we have in Lansing in this state of Michigan right now is because they ran a nobody in the Republican Party. The Michigan GOP ran a total turd. I don't even remember their name. I don't remember anything about them. But I can tell you this, in my mind, the way I'm thinking right now, and I'll expand on this Sunday night, I've already made up my mind that the next 2 years are going to be spent doing everything I can do legally, within my power, within my right, to ensure that Governor Gretchen Whitmer is taken out of Lansing. Voted completely out. That's the beauty of this nation. That's the beauty of what our forefathers put out there. We can overthrow our government by driving down to the local township hall. Don't even have to fire a shot. All we have to do is pull a lever. You're out. Pfft, bye. As long as you can keep an eye on what's going on around you and realize when you're being duped, like what we just went through. So yeah, start now. Start today. Planning, plotting, influencing. And by influencing, I mean taking the high road, getting people curious to why, how you think like you do. Why you respectively disagree with these communist morons who want to basically tear the entire fabric of this nation down and rebuild it under a socialist communist platform. Resist that. Let's face it, folks. You're the counterculture now. You're the rebellious ones. How does it feel? Feels pretty good to me. I don't have to be a lemming. I don't have to march off of the cliff of socialism. I want small government. I want conservative fiscal people running this country. I don't want to pay more than 10% in taxes. That's my money. I earned it. The sweat of my brow. Why should it go to somebody who don't know how to make a living? Take 10% of my pay cut, my paycheck, and take that person and say, okay, we're going to teach you how to make a living. And if you don't get it, I don't know what we're expected to do for you. If you don't know how to show up for work, I don't know what we're expected to do. If you're lazy, well, you're just going to have to depend on the welfare of the church and the community, because we're going to cut welfare down to just about nothing. If you're uncomfortable, good. Go get a job. Go find a way to make a living. Is that so bad? You know, these inner city, block after block, this inner city squalor, if these people woke up to the fact that if they just, on the weekends, or, well, if they're not employed, go out and start cleaning up the streets, number one. Clean up their own apartments. Clean up all around them. And then start thinking of ways to service each other, to bring in money to that area. Sitting down with a pencil and paper and actually having rational thoughts. And saying, okay, if I start doing this, offering this service, we can bring people into this area and we can actually get out of this inner city squalor. We won't need welfare. Oh, can't do that. What happens if the welfare numbers start tanking? We might have to give the regular working class people some of their money back. We might have to give the wealthy some of their money back. Lord, have mercy if that ever happens. Don't apologize for who you are, ever. Influence people. Be an influencer. Be somebody that people come up to you and say, with all of this chaos going on, with all this political unrest, with all this craziness, how can you be at ease with yourself? And then explain it to them. I have not put my life in the hands of an entity that cannot and will not be there for me in my darkest hour. That is how I sleep at night. You know, I've strategically placed myself out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, there's houses on either side of me. But we're out in the middle of a cornfield. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We're the last thing on these people's minds. I did that for a reason. So I don't have to have the government up my butt every 2 yards, every 3 blocks. These people don't even know how to function without some benevolent government telling them what they should be doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They can't think for themselves. That's why they got to have this. We need to get them off of that. We need to wean them off of that drug. We need to tell them, my God, think for yourself. Do for yourself. Yes, we can depend on each other. We can be codependent in your community. But we can do it without having some giant leviathan in Washington, D.C. sucking trillions of dollars off the backs of the working class and the people who have built their wealth over the years. We don't need them doing what they're doing. We can do this by ourselves. We just have to. And if these inner city communities ever adopted that philosophy, there would be no Democrat Party at all. Trust me, it would go away. Finally, I'm going to give you one more piece of advice going through this next couple of years. If you do not have a concealed carry permit, get one. If you do not have a way to defend your house, get one. You think these riots and all this stuff going on is going to go away because a Democrat's got elected president? Oh, no. They have just been empowered. They have just been shown that if they screech, yell, chuck bricks through windows, burn things down, make absolute thugs with arrest records a mile long their heroes, that things will go their way. They've been empowered. Congratulations. These people now think that this should be the norm. We have learned over the past year that breakdowns in society are going to get worse and worse. And it's all because, take you back to the very beginning of what we were talking about here, that these extremists on the left know how to use technology to get people mobilized and marching in the direction they want to prove a point. Maybe we ought to learn a few things from them. Maybe we ought to start setting up our own networks. Maybe every time one of these feckless governors in one of these states come out with a ban on some kind of ammunition or gun or a way to protect ourselves, millions of conservatives, of patriots should surround those Capitol buildings and demand they take it back. No, I don't promote chucking bricks through windows and setting fires and stuff like that. I don't ever want to see that from our side, ever. Because it just shows you what kind of Neanderthals they have on the left. We're not them. We're not primitive. We have evolved. But we do need to take a lesson out of their book, and every time these people do something that's unconstitutional, that tramples all over your rights, the rights of your neighbors, we need to push them back. We need to push them back hard. We need to camp out for days on your Capitol buildings. That's your right. You have the right to protest, peaceably assemble. Notice, peaceably. I do not promote violence against the government. There may come a day where I'll have to. I don't know. Now is not the day. This is not the time. We still have a long way to go to do this the right way. We just have to do it. I'm coming up on the top of the hour again. I really wish this 100th episode, I had plans for this episode. I really did. I was going to get some interviews and stuff like that. But it just happened. I've been so caught up. Don't be alarmed if you see me take a break from social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I have things going on in my life. Good things. I'm not ready to jump off a cliff. But I need to set aside the time suck, the distractions and things for a while. And I need to reestablish some priorities. I'll come back bigger, stronger, better, hopefully more in tuned to what's going on. So stay with me, hang with me, pray for me. Pray for this great nation. You guys have a great next couple of weeks. Join me Sunday night. I'll be on Circumspice, the right side of Michigan. That is going to be a very large show from now on. I'm going to pour a lot into that. I'm going to use it as a vessel to fight against this governor we have. Yeah, I joke around on it. I do the fishing report. I do things like that. We have fun. But make no mistake, I made that show for a reason. And the primary reason is to get this Democrat governor out of Lansing and get back to making this state the best it can be. Remember, politics starts in your community. Local elections. Get involved in them, then flip the county, then flip the district, then flip the state. I'm Alan Ray. God bless you. God bless America. We'll talk again soon.